is not remediation for any past wrongs. If it were, how does a guy getting off a plane from Karachi, or getting off a plane from Lesotho, getting off a plane from Buenos Aires,
right,
how does he qualify for affirmative action? Yes, I said Buenos Aires. Now you might say, hey, wait a minute, somebody comes from Buenos Aires.
No, Bob, I follow what you're saying.
I don't mean you. I mean people listening to us.
I saw a report on the evening news last night where a Hispanic contractor won a contract over a white contractor in Colorado, even though his price was $800 higher. Now, how exactly was that Hispanic contractor wronged, and how exactly did that white contractor do any wrong?
And to further show, to further demonstrate how crazy it all is, all you need is a Spanish surname. That's all you need, a Spanish surname. Now, you take a look at Spain itself. It's on what is called the Iberian Peninsula of southwest Europe. What other nation shares the Iberian Peninsula with Spain?
France?
No, France is not on the Iberian Peninsula. France is north of the Pyrenees Mountains. Therefore, it is not part of the peninsula.
I'm sorry, Bob. Tell me.
You don't know what other nation shares the Iberian Peninsula with Spain?
I do not.
Come on, you sound like a very intelligent guy.
You must tell me, Bob. I do not know.
Okay, when I tell you, you're going to say, of course. Portugal.
Ah.
Okay? Portugal. Now, they both share the Iberian Peninsula, Portugal and Spain. Spain colonized every country in Central and South America, with the exception of any Dutch colony or British colony. They colonized all of South America, Spain did, except for one country. What was the one exception? Brazil. Did you go to... how far did you go to school? How far in school did you go?
I made it to college, Bob.
You mean... Well, listen, I went to college, but I didn't learn that in college.
Now tell me, who colonized Brazil?
Portugal.
Brazil is, what, the largest South...
Yeah. Now, I'm leading up to something. I don't know why I have this guy answering questions. Go to college. Can you believe here's a guy thinks you learned that elementary stuff in college? Huh. Well, anyway, it's really upset me that an intelligent guy who's running a business doesn't know that. Anyway, see how absurd it is? I'll tell you. If you're Portuguese, you don't qualify. If you're Portuguese, you said you don't qualify for the affirmative action programs. But if you can say that you are of Spanish origin, Hispanic origin, then you qualify. And it doesn't make any difference whether you're a Cuban, blue-eyed, fair-complected individual. We had a guy, he left here, Rick Hernandez, a sales guy. Blue-eyed, blonde, not blonde, but pretty light hair. Because his name is Hernandez, he gets affirmative action. Because his father or his grandfather came from Cuba. Does it make sense? Of course not. None of it makes sense. But if you want to be a bunch of schlubs and a bunch of schnooks and take it over and over and over again and not do anything about it, it'll continue. I guarantee you, it'll continue. Everybody wants to compare. No. I'll compare my disability with your disability.
No,
I can tell you an SSI story that is really horrible. Oh, yeah? You try my SSI story.
I'm not on SSI.
What do you want to talk about? People love to dwell on this stuff. Talk about something for nothing, and everybody comes out of the woodwork. Okay, what do you want to say about it?
I was listening to the narcotic addicts at the hospital, and all they could do was brag about what drugs they were taking. I'm on insulin, and I can't even get it.
What do you mean you can't even get it?
Because I don't have the covering.
You can't get insulin?
No, I can't.
Why? Well, why do you even take it in the first place? Are you a diabetic?
That's right.
Well, then you get insulin. What do you
No,
say?
I don't get it because it's a co-payment and I can't afford it.
Well, then your sugar.
Ask Henry about me. He knows me.
Who?
Henry Spallone, the former mayor of Yonkers.
Yeah. All right, I'll ask him. Hey, Henry, do you know about this broad here? This wacko that says, I can't get insulin. Well, then why take it in the first place? Anybody knows anything about diabetics? If you have to take insulin, you can't just take it once and say, hey, it's fine. You have to take it regularly. But some of these people are told, hey, you're borderline. You're borderline. If you watch very carefully what you eat, you can control your sugar level without taking insulin. And so what do? Eat a couple of donuts in the morning, they eat a piece of pie, they eat all kinds of junk, and then they wonder why the sugar level's way up there. I know a lot of gavones that way. What is there about a gavone that won't follow doctor's orders? I'm not saying our letter's a gavone. I don't know Arlette, but I know a lot of gavones. It's my curse. Ladies and gentlemen, my curse is that I know so many gavones. Really, so many. I can't stand them. But there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a gavone-free world. People are looking for a world free of PCBs, free of ozone holes. I'm looking for a gavone-free world, but there's no such thing. Look at it this way. As Abe Lincoln said, God must have loved the gavones because he made so many of them. All right, Kamala Seven's being invoked. What to do with her? I have nothing to do with her. Hey, I got good news for you, Chrissy. You don't have to worry about Bob Grant anymore. You know, there's an old saying, blank me once, shame on you. Blank me twice, shame on me. I turn the cheek. I turn the other cheek. And what happens? Can you believe, hey, you know, I wonder what the rest of the nation would say. I wonder what those people out there in Texas and California, all over this nation who think she's such a darling, such a great star of the GOP. I wonder what those people would say if they knew that she used the phrase, I'm going to lay low until spring. Lay low. You know, criminals say that. People who have done something dishonest, people who are on the lam, people who are hiding, they say that. We're going to lay low. What'd you see, a George Raft old movie on AMC? Hey, we're going to lay low, guys, till the heat cools off, the things cool off. But here she is, on with Howard Stern this morning, talking all this scatological stuff. On with a couple of other people who really have no political import to speak of. And she tells my producer, well, we'll be on with Bob in the spring. Forget it, Christy, forget it. Let the flowers bloom in peace. We'll lay low. We're going to lay low. I mean, this is the governor, this chief executive of a great state. And she says she's going to lay low. And I'll tell you why. She knew she made a mistake when she made a circuitous denunciation of me back in October of 1994. And then when she was inundated, buried with mail from people, and by the way, I never told anybody to write to her. Never did. Never did. They did it because they were outraged. They were good, decent New Jerseyans and people from other states as well. People who felt that a wrong had been committed. People who rallied to my side. And they buried her with an avalanche of mail, the likes of which she has never seen before and probably never will see again. And because of that, she did change her mind and appeared on this broadcast November 17th. And I trust we still have the tapes because I think it would be interesting to play those tapes and hear her over and over again telling me how important I was, that I was a leader. And then some half-baked, non-elected, self-appointed people in the state of New Jersey criticized her for coming on the program And again, she chickened out. I don't know whether that's her own, she's reacting on her own, I suspect it is, or whether the advice she's being given is just so incredibly feckless, or it's a combination of both. But because of the magnitude of her being in the news the other day, the fact of the matter is she was going to answer Bill Clinton. Naturally, Bob Busey being in touch with what's going on and having a good news sense, he said, why don't we call her and talk to her? And I said, well, she's probably real busy today, but yeah, go ahead. He said, yeah, well, we'll ask her about tomorrow. Yeah, fine. And then he came in, Mr. Busey did, and he said, well, he said, this is what they told me. And then the famous quote, they're going to lay low until the spring. I mean, we're talking about the governor of the state. We're not talking about some car thief. We're not talking about some mobster. We're talking about the governor of the state. She's going to lay low until the spring. And I only wish she were a Democrat so I could enjoy my peek at her, but I don't enjoy this at all. Nevertheless, there are questions of decency. There are questions of whether you admire someone with courage or disdain someone who is pusillanimous. And therefore, I make it very clear. I make it very clear. Got good news for you down there in the State Office building in Trenton. Good news. You ought to celebrate, Chrissy, Carl Golden and company. You can celebrate, throw a party, because Bob Grant won't bother you ever again. Ever again. You won't get a call from this office saying, how about coming on the newsbreaker line? How about an interview? But that's all right. You're ahead of the game because you used me like I was going out of style in 1993, and that's all right. I volunteered. I was glad. And when Jim Florio said in an interview with the Philadelphia Inquirer on January 16th, 1994, how could he win with Bob Grant beating his brains out every day? I was pleased to read that. But I'll say this. I may have disagreed with Flim Flam Florio. I may have denounced that huge tax grab that he shoved down our throats in the dead of night. I could never forgive him for that, but I'll bet you this. I'll bet you he wouldn't turn his back on me the way she has. Just a hunch. Just a hunch. Just a hunch. Am I angry? You bet I am. Am I hurt? You bet I am. But unlike the first time when I chose to turn the other cheek and be magnanimous, I don't feel that way now. Let it all hang out there. Let it all hang out. This is the governor of the state of New Jersey. This is the person that people say, hey, she's going to be the vice president GOP ticket. This is a rising star. Oh, yeah? She's too flawed to be a rising star GOP. You might as well learn now before you're out there on a limb with her and she embarrasses you in 1996. What do I need, a house to fall on me?
That's true. She turned on you. What can I say?
I mean, what an absurd thing. The guy says, well, we'll come on in the spring. We'll lay low until... What is that, lay low? What do they do? They pull a bank job? What do they do?
What are your feelings towards Pataki? He did basically the same thing as...
What do you mean, Pataki? Pataki's been great.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in terms of his, the support that Mr. Stern threw towards him.
Oh, come on, Mr. Now suddenly it's Mr. Stern?
What am I supposed to...
You're sounding fake, Alan. Get off my phone. You sound like he was leading up to something inane. Mr. Stern. Okay.
Two people I know of prominence who won't go on your show. Christy Whitman and Al Schaffman. Can you imagine how foolish? Can you imagine if Bob Dole says, I'm going to lay low? But I know you're short and we're getting to the end here, so I got just 10 seconds of a song for Christy.
Oh, great. Go ahead, Marty.
When Governor Whitman needed a friend, and we said we'd be there through thick and through thin. And Bob, you put yourself out because you are a champ. That's why the lady, she's a tramp. She's a tramp. A vice president? I don't think so, because she's a tramp. There it is, Bob. Have a good day. Huh?
You know, Marty, you are a very talented guy. You're a very talented guy.
Tell that to Lynn Samuels. Maybe she'll let me on. I've been banned for a year, but I still listen to her.
Any chance
Yeah.
that on the 5th of March, that's a Sunday, Marty, I know you go to church, but this is in the afternoon.
Is that the leukemia-thon?
If you could make it to the leukemia-thon out there at the famed Rio Diner, the greatest diner in the history of diners in the heart of Woodbridge, Lorraine Seidel of the Leukemia Fund, everybody would love to see you there.
They locked up Colin Ferguson. He's in a court case. I guess I could take a train from Long Island. But I remember last time, Christy Whitman was there for charity. I guess
she's not going to be there.
She's a lowlife, Bob.
No, wait a minute. She's not going to be there.
Good.
So don't worry about...
kids with leukemia, it might be smeared with the good name of Bob Grant.
Well, no, come on now.
I got no mercy. When I saw her on the Brinkley show Sunday, and she's a preening, you know what she is, Bob? She's a candy ass. She's soft, weak, and if she is the future Republican Party, we are in a mess. She's a liberal she's a preening woman who just is out, and she has no backbone or spine, and she's, the golden spoon never left her mouth.
Well, I tell you, Marty, when you get down on somebody, you really get down on them.
She did somebody I like wrong, Bob. Have a good night.
But now wait.
Yeah?
Are we going to see you at the Rio on Sunday, March 5th?
I'll make the bet. It's a long trip for me, but I'm going to keep it in mind. I listened every year for about 2-3 years now. You've been doing it. George Stein. Oh, tell Jay Diamond he's got to fool George Steinbrenner with the Phil Rizzuto routine.
Jay's going to be there.
Get
Lionel's going to be there.
Steinbrenner before he leaves the state.
Jay's going to be there. Lionel's going to be there.
There's some Huntington Station then.
Yeah. Why are you using the name Kevin? In the past, you've used...
Do you know that you're a brown
In the past...
You're a brown short, Bob.
In the past,
you're a brown...
In the past, you've used the name Tim. Now, I'd like to know why today you're using the name Kevin. He hung up. Yeah, Faith and Bigora, what a slime ball he is. Right.
Back at the kid, she says, we're living in America. So I said, what makes you say, where's America? She says, well, we went to the candy store and the guy was talking, the man. She says, man. I said, guy. Man was talking a different language. I said, yeah. I said, that's what America is based on. Entrepreneurs, people earning what they feel they can earn. Now we go to the fruit store to get a grapes. They're talking in Korean. There was an argument in Korean. She says, Daddy, at the table now, she says, but in both stores, she says, they didn't speak English. They don't speak American.
Your daughter is an incredibly alert, very precocious youngster, by heavens. How astute that she's paying attention to everybody talking these languages. Good heavens. What did she major in school? Anthropology?
Sign language. She's sign language.
I'm so impressed, Eddie.
She speaks
you
sign
couldn't
language.
be conveniently making all this up, could you?
Swear, she speaks sign language, and I can't understand her when she talks to her girlfriend, which is deaf, right? Because my wife babysits a girl for another woman, and she's sign languages. And the sign language, she picks it up faster because the child that my wife babysits has been deaf since birth.
Yeah, what's your point here, Eddie?
My point is, I was laying in bed last night.
Now we're lying in bed.
Right.
Okay. You were laying in bed or lying in bed?
Right, lying in bed with my wife.
If you were just in bed not doing anything, you were lying in bed. If you were doing something, maybe you were laying in bed.
Yeah, well, no, we were lying in bed.
Lying in bed, okay.
And I looked at my wife. I said, Terry.
You looked at her, even though you were lying in bed.
Right, actually, I was...
In other words, you had been looking up at the ceiling.
Right.
And then you turned...
Right.
Which side do you prefer, by the way?
My left side.
No, wait a minute. You sleep on your wife's left or on your left?
No, on my left, on the left side of the bed. I always sleep on the left side. I don't know why. It's always closest to the door in case anybody comes in. I want them to see me first.
Okay, that's a good reason.
Now, what happens, I said to my wife, I said, Terry, I said, this kid's got a point. I said, I went to buy gas, and I asked the guy what time it was, and he didn't understand what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I just gave him the $10. I said, thank you, goodbye, let me go. I put on the radio, and they gave me the time. So I said to my wife, I said, this little baby, which is the only child I have, and my wife is a teacher, which it also accumulates why the child is for what the child is, but it's in the genes.
I see.
And
Be careful, don't talk about genes. You might have a demonstration outside your house.
No, it's in the blood. It's in the blood with racehorses. It's in the blood, period.
I see.
And I said to my wife, and she said, don't be silly.
Don't be silly,
I said, Terry.
Terry, that's her name.
Right. I said, Terry, I got to tell you something.
Terry and Eddie, yeah.
Right. I said, I got to tell you. I said, it bothers me because she's right, because I'm supposed to make that observation before she did.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't. I just take it for granted that this is what America. And I said to her, I said, isn't it strange? I'm a foreigner in my own country. And she says, don't be silly. That ain't the case. And she's more or less very liberal kind of person, very easy.
Get rid of her. Get rid of her then.
And I couldn't believe it. And I was shocked.
Well, I hope you get over the being shocked, Eddie. Thank you very much. I bet you Lee would make a good sitcom star. Really, that'd make a great sitcom. Eddie and Terry in Middle Village with their very observant, very precocious 5-year-old. We continue this broadcast. Let me say that Garden State Dunning proudly presents New Jersey's 4-star restaurants.
This will the cops beat the suspect in the Bronx?
Yes.
Yeah, I really don't care if the cops beat the suspects, especially if it was Hilly. Thank you.
Oh, dear. With that, he hung up. Hit and run, hit and run.
Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Bye.
He said happy Newt year. The Social Security program should not be lumped in with the ententitlement programs. You're making a mistake. Hey, listen, you little two-bit gavone. You're making a mistake.
You're the biggest freeloader there is on radio. You get free trips, you get free cars. What else do you get free?
Hey, listen.
Plus you get $2 million a year while these people are working and making $400 a month.
Hey, what do you do for a living, you gavone? It's 6 o'clock.
I hear it from you in New York. I live in Long Island.
Wait a minute. You're getting me nervous, and I do want to record your song, but
okay.
But hang on a minute.
Sure.
Are you telling me that you have been banned by another host on this radio station?
Yeah, now it brings it up to 2. But, you know, it's just like I haven't listened.
You have been banned by a host on this radio station?
Yes. Well, I think there may be other reasons behind it, but basically, I don't...
Do you want to tell me who that host was?
My point's not to cause trouble, or to...
Yeah, you won't be causing trouble. How would that cause trouble? You've been banned by who?
Well, the guy was always good to me, but I just don't listen to the station. To that...
Who banned you?
Let's just say that they...
Jay Diamond?
Let's say they have a lot of...
Jay Diamond banned you?
Unfortunately, I listen to the 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock news. I hate TV, but...
Jay Diamond banned you?
Well, what are you going to do? I just...
Why are you so afraid to say Jay Diamond banned you?
Because he had me on a lot, and I just... That wasn't my point. My point was that our words...
Why were you banned by Jay Diamond?
Because I used an English word that is not apparently used. When this guy from Rutgers was fired for saying what he said, because of the discrepancy in black college scores, I said it wasn't as if he said, go kill the blacks or go kill the coons.
I see.
And that was it. But, there's a group called NWP, Niggers with Attitude. They can use these words, but we can't. They're banning Bugs Bunny, Dumbo.
Do you have time for the song? Or
certainly. I'll make it.
How long does the song take?
It's the Mario song. Ready? Here goes. Mario, right in the rain, to the Aprovianos watching. You can sell Doritos chips, but this time, Mario, you're out of your poker chips. And when you come to town, all the people sing Mario, right in the rain, to the Aprovianos watching. Stay on the radio, Mario, because I need a reason to sing this song. Mario!
I don't know if it's because they just grew up that way and they really believe that they're right, or whether they feel that in order to ensure their sinecure as sports writers, they have to appease militants like those bums who protested by going out on that basketball court. It reminds me of Bob Herbert's absurd statement in his equally absurd column the other day defending what the thugs did, saying this girl sat peacefully on the basketball court. Now, isn't that stupid? She sat peacefully. I didn't know you could sit any other way but peacefully. That's number one. Number two, it's not peaceful when you disrupt an event. It's not peaceful when you're putting yourself in a place you don't belong. It's not peaceful when you're breaking the law. No wonder Ira Berkow wouldn't talk to me one night at a taping of the late unlamented Jackie Mason show. He probably said, oh, this guy's the enemy. Because this guy's not one of these left-wing affirmative action, politically correct, gutless, spineless skunks like I am.
Well, that is.
That means you were innocent. We got through all. He was innocent, folks. He was innocent. I'd like someday to take that fish face schmuck's suspenders right off and wrap them around his neck.
See, the thing is, though, he would never go on your show or
I wouldn't want him. Guess what? I wouldn't want him.
But what I'm saying is they're going to...
that our efforts will not be unhindered. Here we go. It's a little one for Lautenberg.
All right.
Lautenberg, Lautenberg, you look happy to tax me. Tax and spend, tax and spend. Liberal low life forever. Liberal low life with tax and spend forever. Lautenberg, Lautenberg, you look happy to tax me. You do. Have a great vacation, Bob, and let us know if you stop on the shores of great sunny New Zealand. Let us know what it's like down there.
Oh, I will. I'll get...
The more freeloading.
You're gloating, huh? You're gloating. You think you scored a massive victory. I'll show you. You know what happens to Rasputin? You remember the story of Rasputin, Bob? You know your history.
Yeah,
You could stab the guy. You could shoot him. You could strangle him. You could stomp him. You could garrote him. You could do anything, but he kept crawling up from under the sofa again. You haven't heard the last of me.
You know what I understand was your undoing? One day you made a mistake. Appearing, I think, from a helicopter on with Curtis Sliwa. He made an absolute monkey out of you.
Easy now. You never know. Your quotes will come back to haunt you. Let me tell you, people take them out of context, and you'll be in trouble for anything that you say to me. Now, let me tell you something. You can bash me. You can diminish me. You can insult me. You can cast aspersions on the nature of my politics and my personal character. But there's one thing you've done for which I can never repay you, Bob. You've made me bigger than I've ever been. Nobody knew about me. They voted for me, but they never knew about me. You made me a star. Thank you, Bob. You think I'd have a radio show if you didn't make me lose the election? I'd still be a public servant. This way, I'm in private enterprise. Maybe I'll become a conservative. Who knows? The richer I get.
No, you don't have the brains to become a conservative. You're an intelligent man in certain areas, but you don't have the brains to become a conservative.
You're still in the Stone Age, Bob. You don't dig it anymore. This is 1995. A man doesn't need brains to get ahead. He just has to buy someone with brains. But I do.
I see.
You think I could talk like this myself? I need to pay somebody for this stuff.
How do you feel living on Sutton Place?
Bob, let me tell you something. When I used to regard the cityscape of Manhattan from that roof of that humble, shingled grocery store in Elmhurst, and I could only envisage what my future would hold, my father, Mario M. Cuomo Sr., Signore, he said to me, Mario, someday all this will be yours. These streets are paved with gold. Bob, it's come full circle. My bathroom is actually paved with gold now. The fixtures, the shower stall, the sink. You think it's Kohler? No, I called Elger Plumbing, and I said I want solid gold bathroom fixtures.
I see. You call Cypress Plumbing?
I'm getting ready for the show I'm going to do.
The show?
That's right. But I don't know if I'll read spots like Ed Koch. I don't want to cheapen myself.
According to
It
John...
doesn't look nice that our governor should read commercials.
According
what do you
to-
people
according
think? The
to-
governor should read commercials? You listen to the other guy.
I would like you to call the 1-800. Call right now and tell them Ed Koch sent you.
I'm not going to do that. I'm above it all.
You
I
know...
want to ask you something. Could you imagine Franklin Roosevelt reading spots? Ladies and gentlemen, at Men's Hair Now. Think I'm going to do that? Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, I attended Men's Hair Now. And it isn't only for the men, it's for you ladies with thinning hair. You know what I mean. I can't do that. It would cheapen myself.
Well, I don't know.
do live spots. Let Malzberg record my live spot.
We had a president, our 40th president of the United States, who did commercials for the General Electric Company many years ago. And 20 Mule Team Borax.
Well, that's right, Bob. I remember. And the 20 Mule Team show, I think it was, Death Valley Days. Do you know that, in fact, you mentioned Armand Mirabelli, a great American and a great man, and it was Armand who told me that the answer to the trivia question of which state has both the lowest and the highest point in the United States. It's in one state. Can you tell me, anybody here, which state has both the highest point and the lowest point? And I would not have known that had I not spoken to your great friend, Armand Mirabelli.
Well, I think you would have known that because you were the governor of that state for 2 terms.
Well, I might have known I couldn't put it past you, but it's true. Both Mount Everest and Death Valley are in the great golden state of California.
No, not Mount Everest.
Oh,
No.
that's Alaska.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, Mount Everest
Wait, I'm out of
is in India, is in Nepal.
No, not Mount Everest. What was the McKinley?
No, McKinley's in Alaska. Right. Come on now, try again.
Armin told me Mount Everest.
How about Whitney?
Is it Mount Whitney?
Want to try Mount Whitney?
Well, it sounds right, Mount Whitney. We got Death Valley right.
Ladies and gentlemen, H. Ross Perot.
Now, Bob, I'm not going to belabor you with any kind of charts or any kind of indicators today. The only thing I'm going to tell you, the bottom line is, if I wanted to close up this whole leukemia-thon, I could do it with one signature of my pen.
That's true, you could.
So all this radio, all these commercials, all these police, and all these people are irrelevant if I just get out my one checkbook.
All right.
In fact,
you've got everything on
here's
your
a check right now. Chicken feed. Howard Breyer, Leukemia Society of America, $35. My God, I wouldn't even light my cigarette for this. All right for you mortals, though.
Thank you, Howard. Just kidding.
Of course, he's just kidding.
Your expense.
That's the great Jay Diamond, ladies and gentlemen. Now, tell how it feels, but here's how it goes. Yeah, hello, this is Bob Grant.
Yes. And who may I say is calling?
Well, wait a minute, you called me.
You called me. I didn't call you. How could I call you?
Wait a minute.
Hey, look. If you called me, I would be the first to know. But you didn't call me. You are manifestly untrue when you say that I called you, because, in truth, you called me.
I thought...
Ladies and gentlemen, here is a guy who calls. And instead of just stating his business, saying who he is, he's got to go through a whole routine. Hey, look, I don't care who you are. Do me a favor, call somebody else.
Well, wait, I just called it...
I gotta laugh at a guy like this.
Well, how are you? I just wanted to ask, how you doing?
Hey, look, I work alone, pal. I work alone. I don't know if you understand what that means. It means I don't work with a shill. You understand? I don't work with a shill.
But I just called to ask how you were.
You're doing my act, pal. You're doing my act.
Do I really sound like that?
Don't you have a trip to go on? Australia or New Zealand? Hey, look, I gotta laugh at this guy. The guy sits on the air. The guy gets on the air, and he says, hey, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of this. And I'm never going to do this again. Then the guy signs a 14-year contract, and then the guy comes home and he says, "Oh, I got a bad bug in Australia. I hate this jet lag. I'm never going on a trip again." Hey, listen to this guy tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. In July, come with me on our Gala Italy tour. Unlike any tour you've ever gone. Then the guy comes back from Italy in the summer. He says, I'm never going on these trips again. I hate these trips. I cannot use the specific adjective, which is an ing version of a famous Anglo-Saxon four-letter word. I can't go on these flipping trips. And when he comes back in July, he'll be selling the winter trip. We'll be going to the sunny slopes of Venezuela. Come with me in Rio. When it's frigid up north, it'll be balmy down south. Ladies and gentlemen, don't wait. You ought to be first to go on the Bob Grant.
Did I make you feel self-conscious looking at you like that? I mean, I can't believe it. As a matter of fact, you're right, Jay. You're absolutely right. I want to tell everybody that if they pay close attention, they may be able to join me in December.
He's a traitor. He deserted you 20 years ago. He cares nothing about the black race, let alone the white race. He's egotistic, he's pompous, he's self-centered. He can care less about anyone. And everyone is rallying to his back. Everyone is sticking up for him. When this man wins his case, like you said before, Bob, he will walk out of there. And instead of walking out of there and admitting he has a problem and do something about the abuse that's taken place in the homes as far as husband and wives and spousal abuse, he won't do that. What he'll do is he'll hook back up with white people. He'll get on the circuit. He'll start making money again. His ego will become inflated. He'll be as self-centered as ever. He'll be as famous as ever. He'll be as pompous as ever. And he'll be sleeping with white women again, preferably blondes and Italians, and maybe he'll put an Asian in there once in a while. And that's what O.J. is all about.
The fact that he murdered two people is secondary to you.
Come on, Bob. You know me better than that.
Well, I don't know. You're talking about...
I have my eye on the prize. I mean, I basically think he's guilty.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, that's my gut feeling.
Oh.
And I derived that just by looking at his demeanor on TV, just watching him.
Well, okay. I thought that you were totally overlooking that, or maybe even excusing that, when you say his greatest transgressions were sleeping with white women. I would say his greatest transgression was murdering a white woman and a white guy. Better yet, murdering a woman, his wife, ex-wife, and a guy. I'll make this prediction right now. Prediction number one, he walks, simply because of the racial incapability of some of the jury members. Number two, someday, maybe not the day after the acquittal, maybe not a week after, but someday somebody is going to get him. Prior to that, though, Larry King will break his neck to be the first to have, oh, no, I'm OJ, I'm exclusive OJ, congratulations. I could just see that fish-faced freak congratulating this murderer on his acquittal. Sickening. Absolutely sickening.
Hi, Bob. That's right about those politicians. They're no good. None of them. You know what the Spachim did? He stole $3 or $4 billion from the pension fund in New York State.
3 or 4 billion?
Billion. And the courts told him not to do it. The courts.
What did he do with the money? Put it in a valise?
He probably gave it to his Hollywood communist mafia friends. It was laundered. That's how they got control of this damn country.
Listen, I'll tell you what.
What?
Take a thimbleful of vinegar and another thimbleful of lye, mix well, and gargle, will you? You know, they're sick out there and getting sicker. I mean, nobody dislikes the Spachim more than I do, but what an absurd charge. He took $3-4 billion from a pension fund and gave it to his mafia friends in Hollywood. Hey. Hello, Martha.
Yes, hello. You know, I took offense that you talked that way to that woman, you know. That wasn't nice.
Well, if you're looking for niceness, don't listen to this program. Don't listen to this program. But if you're looking for honesty, and if you're looking for an immediate and visceral reaction to lunacy, then by all means do listen to this show. You're dreaming, Bob. You're very idealistic.
Well,
you're an anachronism, Bob. You're an anachronism because the trash that makes up most of the population of America today has no sense of history. Is not even aware of what you're talking about. As far as they're concerned...
But your listeners do.
Well, okay.
A lot of them do.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's all right. I wasn't aware that my listeners were so wide-reaching that they encompassed the population of America. I wish that were true.
And I don't have to...
Well, how would you know if they were a complete idiot if I hung up on them right away? They have to prove that they're an idiot first, don't they?
Yes, but in 30 seconds you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, it seems you let people go on, and in the past, you was like...
On and on? I think that's a mischaracterization. I don't let people go on and on.
Well, maybe not.
What is it you want? Tell me what it is you want. Tell me what you want me to do.
I want you to, when people are idiots, tell them they're an idiot and get through with the call.
All right, you're an idiot. Get off my phone. I don't know what you mean by Italian-American crime, and I don't know what you mean by condemning minority crime. You've never heard me condemn minority crime. What you've heard me do is condemn crime. You have concluded that the crime I'm condemning is condemning minority crime. And I say this, Kevin, if the shoe fits, wear it. You yourself, who have this obsession with your hatred of Italian Americans, manifest your hatred in ridiculous ways, such as the last time calling and pretending to quote an Irish person and claiming that he made all these outrageous statements, which, of course, he didn't make. You said you could prove it, and you would send me the proof, and I said there is no proof, and naturally there is no proof, and you didn't send any proof. Kevin, I really sincerely hope from the bottom of my heart that someday I will confront you in person, man to man, face to face, so I can punch your dumb, stupid nose down your even dumber throat. Get off my phone and don't call again, you scum.
Absolutely. Absolute crystallization of everything you always talk about.
I've been talking about this daytime so-called talk show disgusting garbage pit, toilet pit, since well into last year. And only now it seems as though the rest of America is catching up.
But here's what I want to know, Mr. Grant. What does it mean that these shows are so incredibly popular?
Well, what it means is that the mentality of the average American television viewer is very tawdry, is very low class, that they love slime, that they love sleaze. These shows produce tremendous amounts of money.
I read in the paper that Jenny Jones made the show made $50 million last year.
Well, that's right. The show made that much. That's what the show cleared.
Cleared.
Yeah, cleared.
Exactly. Netted.
Did you read that piece today, talking about the premise of these shows and what Jerry Springer,
right,
who is, I'd love to bump into that guy. He is such a sleaze bag, such a sleaze. But what's sickening is that these shows are popular not because Springer's talented, because he's not because Jenny Jones is talented, because she's not,
clearly,
but because the format of the program has these dysfunctional pieces of trash who are being exploited by the producers. But the producers are laughing all the way to the bank.
Exactly. This is it. We are careening down the slippery slope to oblivion. And we're almost there.
Well, indeed we are. People think I'm joking when I say I want a huge meteor to hit the third planet from the sun. Of course, most people are so stupid they don't know the name of the third planet from the sun. But you have a background in psychiatry?
Yeah, amateur psychiatry.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that I think I'm intelligent enough to analyze a guy like you. I mean, you're the kind of a guy...
get off, for heaven's sake. What a gavone. How stupid in the pursuit of the conversation. Subconsciously, you were comparing yourself with him. There's a guy who knows what's in my subconscious.
It's being bought because they don't have money for anything else. And the fish is always fresh and it's cheap. When was the last time you opened the fish store and said, oh, my God, look at the prices? Fish is never... What's the problem with fish? If anything, they should go investigate the meat market. Why milk is so...
You have a vested interest? Do you have a vested...
I have no interest. I am a teacher by trade. I have no interest whatsoever. Yes, I am.
Talking the way you did for a moment, I thought you might be connected.
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
I just went through, and there was a hearing 3 days ago regarding this in committee by the council, and they had these 2 secret witnesses. The mayor is sending 2 secret witnesses that are going to prove that there's major corruption there.
Why does it upset you that he's trying to get rid of corruption in the Fulton Fish Market?
My thing is, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. What is he looking for? To fingerprint everybody and take away constitutional rights?
Are you sure you're a school teacher?
Yes, I am.
Really? What do you teach?
I teach Hebrew studies in Queens.
Oh, Hebrew studies in Queens. Okay. Thank you, Chuck. That sounds very suspicious to me. Very suspicious. But anyway.
Daughters that I have...
How old are they? Are they grown? Okay, I gotta go. I'm sorry. I got guys motioning to me. I'm trying to do a program. They're motioning.
This is Barry Farber. Just because I'm founder and president of the New York Language Club does not mean I enjoy knocking my head against irregular verbs and bone-dry language.
Oh, is that clever?
My happiest discovery in 51 years of language learning is cybervision.
Why is it that you people who call feel it necessary to report on how you feel about other talk show hosts?
Well, I'll tell you, Bob, excuse me for interrupting.
That's all right.
I've been literally praying for something like you and Limbaugh to come down the pipe for a long time.
I see.
You've been answering my prayers, but that's not the reason for my call.
It's the Quinella, folks. It's the Quinella, okay?
But first of all...
New York Society for Ethical Culture. I believe that's over on 2 West 64th Street. That should be 64th and Central Park West. And they are presenting the Sfachim with the Ethical Humanist Award. The Ethical Humanist Award to Sfachim Cuomo. The proclamation says, in recognition of his principled stance against the death penalty. And they're very sneaky here. They say it's free admission, but if you want to go to a reception for the Sfachim after he blows a lot of hot air for a couple of hours, $35 per person, just to stand there and look into his baggy eyes. This is a first in the Algernon D. Black commemorative series on ethical issues today. Now, I know something about the Ethical Culture Society, having been a guest there myself many years ago. And I would say to the people there, what is humane about letting killers go? What is humane about depriving society of the right and the need to make sure that a killer who has killed once does not kill again? What is so magnificent about a governor who did see to it that people who were given the death penalty had their sentence commuted, and who indeed made sure that killers did get out so that they could kill again? That's the Sfachim. Hey, game, 20 questions. I don't know, maybe I'll take another phone call. I think I'm going to tailor the program more towards the modern trend, which is not to really take many phone calls. Harold from Astoria, hello.
Hello, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, the most important thing in Senator D'Amato's life is not the Mexican bailout. It's Claudia Cohen. Why have you not asked him how that relationship is going?
You're a jerk, schmuck. Okay. I despise people like that. I really do. I despise them. I wish there were a device, and I mean this, whereby I could press a button and kill a skunk like that. I mean kill. I don't mean hurt. I mean destroy, completely wipe out. I just despise vermin like that last guy. Despise them.
The one that they last week, they had Dan Rather, Jane Pauley, and Cokie Roberts. Ian Richards says the reason why people are talking about affirmative action and we want to end it is because it's working. Jane Pauley says that she owes her career to affirmative action. Dan Rather said he used the word troubled. He says he's troubled that enough blacks aren't anchors. I mean,
why doesn't he quit and demand that a black guy take his place?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's troubled over that, then that's what he should do.
Yeah.
What a fake! What a phony!
Right?
He's troubled my foot.
When he used that word trouble, I was thinking of Christine Whitman. I'm troubled by it.
Yeah, she's troubled by a lot. That's true. Yeah.
Liberal communist. I believe in we should have peaceful.
You know what, Tony? I think you ought to have your adenoids fixed and get a brain transplant. And do me a favor, will you? Get off my phone, you gavone. I mean, there's a classic gavone right there. He's just got that gavone intonation. Apologizing over and over again to, guess who? The black ministers, the black community, because of the statement she made concerning these studs who have a game called Jewels in the Crown. See who can sow their miserable seed in the most available brood sows. And in that interview with the Sunday Independent, a British newspaper, she had made the statement, which is accurate, which was fair. She said, how are you going to legislate against? How are you going to have any impact on illegitimacy? How can you legislate against games played like that? And she correctly identified the people who play the games. I'm not saying that blacks are the only ones having illegitimate children. Lord knows they're not. But to her knowledge and my knowledge and anybody else's knowledge, they're the only ones who have that silly game, Jewels in the Crown. At any rate, naturally the black community got irate. Wayne Bryant, a pretty square shooter, senator from Camden County. He's a Democrat. He's black. But I've always felt that he was an honorable man. Wayne Bryant took her to task, and she's knocking herself out apologizing. Hey, Christy, how does it feel to be called a racist, huh? Somebody said, well, are you going to interview her? Well, I'm going to lie low. Maybe I'll have her on in the summer or the fall, when things die down.
You know, like I said, the ultimate decision.
Did you use the phrase, like I say? That means you run out of new things to say. When they say, like I say, that means they've run out of things. That's Joe, the misogynist. We haven't heard from Joe in a long time, but he's still out there hating women. He's consistent, all right. Probably some broad said no to him years ago, and he never got over it.
You and your family.
Yes, thank you.
And to get to what I wanted to talk about. First of all, this was just a passing thought. It isn't really what I want to talk about. It's about, what the guy was talking about, Rob Roy. God, that was done 25 years ago in a movie called Fun with Dick and Jane with George Segal and Jane Fonda, where she's sitting on a bowl wiping herself after Europe, doing whatever the hell she had to do. If you would think back, and probably you remember the movie.
I did not see the movie.
Well,
I can't stand George Segal. I cannot stand him.
George Segal is a hell of an actor, but Jane Fonda, I mean, give me a break. Well, anyway.
Well, Jane Fonda happens to be, as much as I don't like her politics, happens to be an excellent actress.
I feel the same way, Bob, but
anyway, what was it?
70s.
Yeah, what was it you called
Bob, that was during the 70s when the Vietnam War was on, and I really, I really hated the bitch. But anyway, that's besides the point. What I really wanted to talk to you about is this congressman from California threw his hat into the ring.
Yes.
And what he announced this morning, think of this, Bob. Here's a guy. First thing he says, now, I mean, this really knocks me for a loop. I mean, I really like the guy. And the first thing he says is, I am going to have a Jewish American or a black to run as my vice president. Was that necessary, Bob? I mean, this guy, to me...
Dornan said that?
Dornan, he's a real...
Wait a minute, Dornan said that?
Right. And to me, he just showed...
It's funny, I did not read that in any of the...
He said it, Bob, would I...
I'm not... Phil, take it easy, will you?
Yeah?
I did not say you were lying. I did not say you were making it up. All I said was, I did not read that. That was all I said.
You want to know something, Bob? Much as I hate Willie, I'll take Willie before I take that scumbag to have to make the remark to run for the presidency that he will have either a Jew, an American Jew, or a black American.
You heard him say that?
You know something? The guy is a gas. He's no goddamn good. Excuse me.
Well, that lets you out with that vile talk. Phil is a very emotional guy, and he took a long hiatus from calling the show. I think he's ready for another one. I knew it wouldn't last long. He called for the first time in ages about 3 weeks ago, and he said, well, I didn't call because I was mad at you. And he said, but I got over being mad. I did some soul searching, and I think I was being childish, whatever it was he said. But there he is again, back in vintage Phil form. Hey, Phil, I think you ought to take a permanent, what would we call it? A permanent hiatus? I think so, Phil. You just rubbed me the wrong way. I'm sorry, Phil, but you do.
All of a sudden, almost overnight, we got bimbos with badges, sluts with stripes, morphodikes in men's military colleges, bull dykes bouncing basketballs on a boys' team. We got women taking men's jobs, crying harassment, her ass in his establishment. Now they're framing us for illegitimacy. Bob, I don't agree with you that Joe is at fault for making the points that he makes. Joe from Brooklyn. I think that everything he said is on the money. I would just like to say that we should stop fixating on this coming out of the black community. It ain't the black guy's fault. They got a stronger sex drive than the white. It's the Jews' fault for putting the broad in the short skirt that fed the abortion clinics in the law practice. And Joe is
Get off the phone, you swine. Sick swine.
Against the Simpson defense team. Secondly, one of the guests in the 4 o'clock hour repeated that unfortunate accepted lie that Ronald Reagan ran up huge deficits in the 1980s. When the full force of the economic recovery took over, and when the reduction in tax rates really settled in, because it took 3 years to phase them in, look what happened to the budget deficit in the last 3 years of the Reagan presidency. And this is according to the 1990 census and the U.S. Labor Department. In 1987, in 1986, the deficit was $221 billion. In 1987, it dropped to $150 billion. In 1988, $155 billion. In 1989, $154 billion, all significantly smaller than Bill Clinton's deficit today that he's taking credit for. Overall, the deficits averaged $154 billion in the 1980s, not the $300 billion that all these liberals keep trying to brainwash people into believing. Thank you.
All right, John. Thank you.
Military Intelligence Agency, which is a little bit...
Hey, look at the legacy. Look at the legacy of Pakistan. First of all, Pakistan came into being in 1947.
Yeah.
After there was the British gave up on India. They left India. As soon as they left India, what happened? Fighting broke out between the Hindus and the Muslims.
Yeah.
And so they created a Muslim state called Pakistan.
Yes.
It was East Pakistan and West Pakistan. Finally, they broke that up, and East Pakistan became Bangladesh. But anyway, we're talking about what was once known as West Pakistan. Am I correct so far, Sam?
That's right.
Okay. Now, out of that has come a series of assassinations, of killings. Remember Ali Bhutto? He was murdered by General Hock. General Hock had his plane blown up. Somebody got him. I mean, it is a violent country. They are violent people. It may sound racist, too damn bad. They're violent people. That's their background. They are violent people. They deal differently with issues. Now, what are we supposed to do? See facts before our eyes and pretend that those facts don't exist? Pretend we're blind?
Most of the people doing this thing over here are not Pakistanis. They're operating through most...
I didn't say the people over here were Pakistanis.
No.
I'm talking about the legacy that we have in this world, and most Americans don't realize it's a different world out there. They don't have our values. They don't have our self-imposed inhibitions.
I don't think they're all self-imposed. If you have a rule of law, justice, and whatever, then you get people... not acting violent like that, but when the law and order is broken down entirely...
No, it's self-imposed. When our government doesn't take stringent measures in response... Come on, what are you talking about, for heaven's sake?
Well, for instance, look what happened in the inner cities, what's going on over there. Now, what happens, that's not because people there are more naturally violent, I
didn't say they were naturally violent. There you go. See, you proved my point. We can't even discuss what is. Immediately, we have to have people coming out saying, well, they're not naturally that way. Get off my phone. I'm sick and tired of people like that, for heaven's sake. That's why we're losing, folks. That's why we're losing. Hello, Jim. What's on your mind?
Well, I've got a couple things to say to you, and I hope you
don't... Well, one nice thing about me is if I'm sick of you, you'll know it.
Well, I hope you don't hang up on me, because I think
I may hang up on you just for saying what you said now.
No, I hope you don't, but here's my comments. I think they're good comments. It seems to me that almost everybody that calls your show sort of rubber stamps, like, everything. They call up and they say, oh, don't you agree, Bob? They say things to, bait you, to, get you to say, oh, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it just seems like it's just
some of them even bring an apple for the teacher,
yeah,
pal.
Well, they may, but it just seems like a bunch of robots calling in. And then the other thing is, I'm wondering, why is the whole country, the whole world so afraid of animal rights activists? Why, Bob?
I'll tell you why, because that's what I want to know, too. I want to know why we're afraid of them. We should mow them down with the nutrients. Thank you very much, you scum. All right. I tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. When I lose my temper, I lose my temper. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And that guy, I hate when people say, you're probably going to hang up on me. And you know what? From here on in, as soon as they say that, that'll be an automatic quick hang-up.
And against the best wishes of our best friends in the world, the British.
One of Jerry Adams' spokesmen, if indeed Jerry Adams himself, when questioned about a bombing in Belfast many years ago, where innocent women and children, for the most part, were killed because it was a bomb set off in a particular store with shards of glass cutting these babies in half. Maybe it wasn't Jerry, maybe it was one of his aides, said, and I quote, "Well, in war, a lot of innocent people die."
Well, unfortunately...
So that's the kind of thinking that terrorists have.
Yes, sir, and I believe they're all interconnected one way or the other.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I did not bring up Jerry Adams for 1 minute, but it's interesting how many of the callers of this program, without any direction or any instigation from me, have been bringing up the meeting that Slick Willie had with Jerry Adams. And for good reason, he is slick.
And the faces that he makes, it's like he's laughing at us or something. I can't explain it, Mr. Grant, but he makes this face.
Well, you know what that is? That's the face of a person who's acting, who's performing. He's not being sincere.
And they were saying Ronald Reagan was an actor. Unbelievable. This guy's unbelievable. I just can't wait to get him out.
Well, hopefully, 1996 election will do it. But I don't know. It's incumbency, having the office of the presidency. You can manipulate a lot of people if you're slick enough.
Well, fortunately, people like yourself and Jay and Rush, without you guys, I don't know what would be happening because his propaganda machine works 24 hours a day.
Are you suggesting that we make a difference?
Well, you have to me and my wife, at least. I mean, I don't know about the rest of anybody else, but...
Oh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody that I've had an influence on you. Good heavens.
It's been nothing but positive, Mr.
We're not supposed to have influences on people. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Won't happen again. And I'll tell you another thing. That guy, it's another typical guy who wears paramilitary clothes. He's a loser. He couldn't even work in the Army in the correct way. He was kicked out. He was fired from a job. He was a night guard because he was watching TV instead of looking out. I'm supposed to be afraid of guys like this, paramilitary? Please.
You're supposed to be afraid of guys like who?
This guy who blew up the building.
Oh,
That's an isolated incident.
Now you see how ridiculous you are.
I'm not afraid.
You fit perfectly in this scheme of things here because you're just as much a wacko as virtually everybody who's been calling this past hour. You're a real AAA Sokola. Here you are. You talk about a guy who just blew up a building and killed a couple of hundred people, and you say, I'm not afraid of him. I'm not afraid of him. These guys don't bother me. Hey, you know how dumb that sounds? You better be bothered by the fact that there are guys like that out there. You better be concerned about the fact. What do you think? Do you think that Tim McVeigh is just, out of 260 million people, he's the only one aberration, one aberrant, mutant, sick, warped, hateful mind? Come on, get real, pal, get real. Hey, then he might not call the program. That slams the lid on things for today. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Well, just a minute, let me go further.
Happens to be a Jew. Of course he happens to be a Jew, but that doesn't mean that Ito is anti-Semitic because he couldn't stand the way Neufeld was talking.
No, but he also, I feel, was trying to get even with Shapiro because of what Shapiro did with the fortune cookies when Fung testified.
Hey, you know what? You're entitled to...
And I am entitled, and I wanted to get that on the air because I didn't
You're
know...
entitled to your fantasies, same as anybody else.
Well, I didn't know if anybody else picked up on that.
Well,
but
there are people just as paranoid as you, so I'm sure that other people came to the same conclusion.
Well, the people in Germany were paranoid.
Oh, cut it out. Get off. Cut it out. Good heavens. Good heavens. I don't believe that.
Hello, Mr. Bob Grant. God bless you. And I just want to say that you're the king of talk radio, and I was at the club the other night, 200 people and all the guys down there, they all say they always love to listen to Mr. Bob Grant. And we know down deep in our heart and soul, the United States of America, that this President Clinton didn't mean you when he ran down the talk show, because you speak for the United States of America and you love our country, and I don't know what we'd do without you, Mr. Bob Grant. All us World War II there was 15 or 17 million of us, and we all love you, and we're sticking with you. And anytime you need any
15, 17 million love me, Marty.
Yeah, well, we're all 17 million of us in World War II. We all talking about you all here.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
We love you, Bob.
Glad to hear that.
Don't give up the ship, please.
Glad to hear that, George. What are people auditioning? Why do they wait till my program to audition? And besides, we're not casting for any Clifford Odets play or anything like that.
Shackles running around the track. I think that'd be rather interesting. Who would you bet on, Bob?
Well, you know, the warden said that people have come from all over the world to view this. Why the fascination?
Because of the melanin.
You think
what do you think? I mean, Bob, if they were a white guy, do you think that anyone would give a damn? Absolutely not. It's because they've seen it on TV, and the whole world takes pity on the fact that America is such an awful place. Well, as far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of things about America that's bad, but people in shackles, that's not bad. That's good. And Bob, thanks for the time.
Okay, Philip Oldbridge on the line on WABC. Let's say hello and trying to, as he says, walk on the corpses of the Oklahoma City bombing. Now, Slick Willie is without it. Perhaps his greatest strength, the greatest weapon, is his total lack of morality. Total lack of morality. No conscience, total lack of morality.
Got it.
Had certainly one thing in common, and that was they were American citizens, they spoke English, and they thought American. They were American.
And they were proud to be.
And they were proud to be, that's right.
Right.
Even though it was a diverse group, there were a couple of Jewish folks in there, a couple of Irish people in there. And lo and behold, Jackson Heights is not the same Jackson Heights it was in 1970 and the early 1970s. It's just a polyglot group of people who don't speak English. You go to Roosevelt, and where the heck, what is it? Is it Bogota? Is it Quito? Is it, I don't know what it is, but it's not America.
Exactly. For instance, my mother was from East New York. East New York is just a jungle right now. And my father was from Bushwick, which is also a jungle. And we moved to Richmond Hill, Queens, 25 years ago, figuring it was a nice neighborhood. Now, slowly, every summer, I don't recognize the neighborhood anymore. I can't even sit in my backyard because of the music blasting from my so-called neighbors. They have no respect.
I know. Just, you go to Flushing and you think you're in Seoul, Korea.
Right.
Right?
That's it.
Or Bombay. I mean, it's just... hey, look, I'm sorry, folks. Pardon me, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I guess that makes me a no-good, racist, bigoted swine.
Well, me too, Bob.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm sure there are a lot of good folks out there. I'm not condemning the individuals. I just don't like what's happened to my culture. That's all. Excuse me, folks. Excuse me. I'm just a human being. You know, a big nerd who writes in the Daily News took me to task because Phil of Oldbridge, who is a bigot, Phil of Oldbridge, who is a very angry old man, called me the other day and seemed to have trouble thinking of the name Connie Chung. And because Phil is an old man who grew up in a time when this type of bigotry was just commonplace and not even thought of as bigotry, referred to her as slant eyes. I didn't like it, but I didn't say anything about it either. He takes me to task for not saying anything about it. These guys are just looking for anything and everything to try to put us down. I say us because I'm not the only one. But why? Because they're jealous. That's why. Because in their sanctimonious arrogance, they thought we were inconsequential. And now they see that we're not inconsequential, that no less a person than the guy who has the number one job in the country, the number one office in the land, is attacking us, campaigning against us, and they're jealous. That's all. That's simple.
Okay. Bob, I watched Henry Cisneros this morning on C-SPAN. Not deliberately, but he was on, and I thought, well, let's listen to his speech.
Was he broadcasting from his cell?
No.
Nazi and white supremacist groups.
What do you mean by? Hold on a minute.
I'm going to answer this. Allowing them to give out their recruiting numbers. Allow them to give out their recruiting numbers and promote themselves on your show. In some cases,
you actually assist them in promoting their numbers by asking them.
I don't believe what I'm hearing. I don't believe what I'm hearing.
I can back this all up with tape, Mr. Grant.
I don't believe that you believe that I'm doing that. I really don't believe that you believe I'm doing that.
Invite me onto your show with the tapes, Mr. Grant. I have you.
What is? I don't understand what you mean. Hold on a minute. I don't understand what you mean by solicitous. I don't understand. Are you? Wait a minute. Are you charging me with being pro-Nazi?
I'll tell you what I'm charging you with, Mr. Grant. You are continually uttering racist remarks.
No, I asked you.
I'm saying that your show is a magnet to white supremacists, and when they get
it's a magnet to people. It's a magnet. Stephen, you overlook one thing.
Your raging racism makes you blind to people with even more extreme views than you have, and I have
even more extreme.
Yes, neo-Nazi groups, Mr. Grant. You said I have no trouble with the National Alliance.
Yeah, what is the National Alliance?
Mr. Grant,
I have no problem. Tell me what the
organized.
Yo.
Tell me. Explain to you what they are.
Oh, okay.
They are one of the most highly organized neo-Nazi groups in the United States. They are headed by a Dr. William Pierce, who wrote the Turner Diaries.
Never heard of him.
The secretary of the American Nazi Party.
Never heard of these guys.
And well, let me explain to you, because then maybe you'll know. A guy named Tony Cardulis fired off the roof of a Upper West Side apartment building about a month and a half ago. He was a member of the National Alliance. He set up their hotline here, a number that you allowed to be broadcast over your air. In addition, two skinhead brothers who belong to the National Alliance murdered their parents and their younger brother.
I know about them.
In Philadelphia. They are National Alliance members, Mr. Grant. You had people signing off your show saying, "Hail victory, blood and soil." That is a Nazi salute, Mr. Grant. You claim to be a fan of history and a student of history. That is a Nazi salute. And I would also want to point out that both material points of your letter to Newsweek, which you read over the air last week, are falsehoods. One is you claim that Tommy from Brooklyn attempted to justify the Oklahoma City bombing. The only reference that he made to that was to refer to it as an awful tragedy. He made no reference to anybody's motive.
Why are you so exercised here? Tell me.
Because you have been lying about these situations, Mr. Grant.
I've been lying about what? I've been lying about what?
You said in your letter to Newsweek, which I hope will be published, because it has two blatant falsehoods in it. One is you claimed that this Tommy from Brooklyn attempted to justify the Oklahoma City bombing when what he did was he called up and cautioned not to jump to conclusions about the Oklahoma City bombing. And you said to him that he should be lined up against the wall with the Muslims that did it. You were wrong, Mr. Grant, but you said he should be lined up and he should be mowed down, and then you said execute you with them, because you obviously have a great hatred for America. And that was the way that you treated this guy, and you attempt in your letter to claim that Tommy from Brooklyn is indeed tried to justify the Oklahoma City bombing. That is a lie, Mr. Grant.
Why are you calling now? Are you acting in... Hold on a minute. Hey, Stephen, hold on a minute. Well, I don't know you. I do know that you've been out to get me, but why are you sounding so emotional about it?
Mr. Grant,
I'm trying to have a I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but you make it very difficult. Because when I ask a question, you go racing ahead pell-mell, and I'm trying to clear something up. I'm trying to learn something.
Okay.
Number one, I've already learned that the National Alliance is a bad organization, to say the least. Look, I don't care whether you believe me or not. I don't have to justify myself to you. But I tell my audience, I didn't know what the hell the National Alliance was.
Well, did you also not know what the National Association for the Advancement of White People was? They share a P.O. box with the National Alliance. They are a neo-Nazi group first founded by David Duke and by other folks.
So what? What have they got to do with it?
You actually aided them in broadcasting their number. You encouraged a member of them to repeat the number twice.
Really?
In another case, you helped actually...
I don't believe what I'm hearing. I just don't believe it.
You don't have to believe it. If your listeners are interested in getting these tapes or transcripts, they can contact FAIR.
And are you familiar with an expression, on the brush?
On the brush?
Brush. It means on the arm.
Well, I thought that's what you said.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It means getting things for nothing.
Yes.
Mr. Grant, where did you get your lawn furniture?
Lawn furniture?
That's right. You know what I'm talking about. And incidentally, we're calling for a nationwide boycott of United Artists, if you please.
Oh, that guy again.
Please.
That guy again.
Yes.
What is this obsession you have with United Artists?
Well, they're a union-busting organization.
that's fond of hiring non-U.S. citizens for minimum wage.
You know, you're really pathetic.
Yes, of course I'm pathetic.
You call as often as you can. You change your name each time you call. The last time you used a foreign accent. I'm not even going to waste my time with you. You belong in Creedmoor. You're a AAA Cicola. You're as bad as Mel. Or was it Steve? The guy who was on ahead of you. Eddie from Bay Ridge, that's it. These guys are really sick. They have empty lives. They are failures, absolute failures at everything, and the only way they get a sense of achievement is to call a radio talk show. Hey, Tom from Belrose, what's on your mind?
Before I get to Zaire, Bob, I want to say that I despise President Clinton, and I can't stand her husband either. And I frankly resent the newspapers, media, TV, constantly walking in lockstep, addressing her at every turn as Hillary Rodham Clinton. You know, let's all cut out this nonsense, which gives her an exaggerated air of importance, and refer to her simply as Mrs. Clinton. Let's cut out the Rodham nonsense. Now, changing the subject, I would like to know when people from Zaire and adjacent countries are going to be forbidden to enter this country. But must we all get the plague here before they're kept out? How about putting the spotlight on the people in immigration responsible for this inaction? How about giving their names and addresses every day on the radio, on every station, so that if anyone gets the plague, they'll know exactly who to hold responsible. And you know, Bob, with this overall leftist onslaught, they're pushing so hard to communize this great America. I have a fantasy about this. If they ever take over, I could see them taking the Hollywood lefties, the Kunzlers, the Ramsey Clarks, the black militants, the lefty reporters, and all the other Bolsheviks, and lining them up against the wall. And just before they open fire, they tell them, fellow comrades, we appreciate the efforts you've made in helping us take over America. But unfortunately, we have to shoot you all because you had it very good under the free enterprise system, and you were always complaining and agitating. Now, under our rule, you won't have it 10% as good as you had it. So die proudly, having helped the communist cause. Bang.
That sounds like the alleged salute of the gladiators to the Roman emperors.
That's right.
We who are about to die salute you.
That's exactly right.
That's something.
Yes. And Bob, you know, I'm going to tell you, really, they are going to be the first to die because they agitated against the free enterprise system. If the communists ever took over, they are going to agitate against them. The same thing.
Well, what you're saying is they would know who the troublemakers are, and they would rid themselves of the troublemakers before anything else, which, of course, traditionally these tyrannical dictators do each and every time they take power. Now, you mentioned Zaire before, I believe.
Yes.
And, of course, this Ebola virus is obviously very deadly. I see that in Ottawa, Canada, a man suspected of carrying the deadly virus, actually not in Ottawa, but the story came out of Ottawa. He was detained at Toronto's International Airport, placed under quarantine.
Good for them.
Yeah. Now, man was arriving from Zaire, the Canadian health laws, at the International Airport. They're taken to a hospital or other medical facility in Toronto where he will be quarantined for 21 days, which apparently is the incubation time. And also, speaking of Zaire, isn't it amazing? There are people, and they're not Zaireans either. They are Europeans, I suppose, since they're white. They might even be Americans, who in all likelihood will contract the deadly disease because they continue working in the hospital.
Yes.
With individuals who are stricken. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Yes.
And that, why isn't there some publicity given to that story?
Bob, we are being invaded by everybody in this country, and I think this is a part of the leftist plan. It is not accidental, because I am a guy that does not believe that anything happens by accident. Everything is orchestrated, and this is part of it. For all we know, these stories are being put out. Like I saw one fellow there that I think in the mail, some fanatic in the mail, he got some cultures.
Oh, yeah.
Did you read that?
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy's been arrested.
Yes. I'm just wondering if a country over there, I always look for these angles, if a country over there is preparing something in the future, and the reason that they're financing all these things is because we'll never suspect it's them. We'll figure it's a fanatic, either a right-wing or a left-wing fanatic, or it's some other nut that's doing this, but not them, because then we won't know who to retaliate against.
Yeah, well, I think you were talking about this guy from Ohio.
Yes.
He was said to be a member of the neo-Nazi group Aryan Nation.
Yes.
And, hey, there are so many wackos out there.
I know.
All you got to do is listen to this program, and you hear how violent some people sound, right, Tony?
Believe me, I know exactly what you're talking about. And finally, Bob, people will see through the propaganda, and I think Pat Buchanan is going to make it. I see a Buchanan Dole for president.
Well, that's a long shot bet.
All right.
Thank you, Tony.
He'll make things right.
Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you, sir.
All right. And I walked out of there without a medical. Okay. So thank God I have Medicare. And
well, you're safe. An old lady like you're safe.
Okay, but look at it. But about my son. I'm thinking about my son.
Oh, no, you're not. If you were, you wouldn't be screaming about your colas and your benefits.
Wrong.
No, you don't care about yourself.
Oh, Bob, for heaven's sake, stop yelling and getting just like, what's his name on night, Diamond. I turn him off every night because of his attitude.
Oh.
Listen.
Boy, that straightened me out.
That's
okay.
right. Now,
all
the
right,
IRA.
You really got to me.
Do you know what happens?
I'm going to be
Listen
very
to
nice.
me.
Yes,
do you know what happens with IRAs? Let me tell you. I worked at this, so I know.
Yes.
People put money in IRAs, young kids. Oh, yeah, I'll put the money in the IRA. Then they got to pay on a car, and they come in, and they say, okay, I got to take money out of my IRA. Well, you're going to have 10% from the bank it's in, and you're going to get another 10% from the IRS. Oh, no, I don't care. I want the money. Anytime that you let people say, okay, they're going to save money for themselves, unless they're really well-to-do, they're not going to do it. Now, if somebody's really well-to-do like you don't need Social Security at all, and they should pay you back whatever you put in and say, okay, Bob, goodbye. See? They should do that.
Well, I tell you, I don't know why anybody would get upset with you. You're very even-headed.
Oh, I'm worse than that. You know the guy, Paul? Yeah. I belong to the NRA, and I agree 100% with Paul.
In other words,
yeah.
you have fantasies that you're
well, you can call them fantasies.
You know what it is?
I hope you live near me when my fantasies come true and I can help you.
Elizabeth.
What?
I hear from people every day, 5 days a week. Maybe I've been doing, hey, Mr. Farquhar, maybe I've been doing this show too long. Maybe I should be turned out to pasture. But I've been hearing from people like you for years and years. This is not to put you down. This is not to...
You couldn't put me down.
Not to be pejorative whatsoever.
Yeah.
But what in heaven's name is going on that everybody has a siege mentality?
No, it's not that.
No?
It really isn't. No, it really isn't like you're saying a siege mentality. It's a thing that you say to yourself, okay, am I going to be able to do anything to help myself in a certain situation, which may never happen. Never. Oh. I mean, why would you carry pepper spray? Why would you do things like that? You know, you're just trying to protect yourself in the chance that something like that might happen. Not that you're going out looking for it, believe me. It's ridiculous to say that. I don't, there may be a couple of some crazies out there, but most people are not, you know. So that's about all I was going to say to you, except please don't get like Jay Diamond. I mean, I can't even listen to that man. I put him on at night when I go to bed. I say, okay, let me listen, see if he's going to... And he just goes on, and he's so emotional, and it's sickening. I know you like him. He was good when he first started out, but right now he's a regular pain.
Well, I'm trying to talk. You know, I'm getting very tired. And besides, I'm getting memos. You know, lately...
Are you
every
getting
time...
that old and tired?
No, we're not being... No, this is like the old days, when every time we turn around, there'd be another memo. We are adding to the list of no-nos, you know?
I have worked with that.
And I envy these people, and there are so many of them in town. There's Stern, there's Imus, for example. Even our guy Lionel, he gets to talk to Bruce. I don't have anybody to talk to.
Well, you got me.
Well, I know, but you're not a co-hostess. You know what I mean?
That's too bad.
And
I would really have to pack something, believe me, if I was a co-hostess with you, because I'd be even worse than you.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, in opinions. Kind of tough.
I don't know. There's something cute about you, Elizabeth.
You really think so?
I do.
You just called me an old lady.
Well, that was. You know why I did that? I wanted to kind of. Well, I was being nasty. I wanted to get you mad.
You couldn't.
I wanted to get. I thought, how am I going to get under her skin?
Never.
I know what. I'll call her an old lady. And guess what? It didn't work.
No, wouldn't work.
Wouldn't
work with you either.
Because you looked in the mirror and you said, "What does he talk about? He should see me. I'd devastate him."
I don't think so. You know, you get wrinkles as you get older. It's disgusting. It really is. It's disgusting.
But you have charm.
Oh, yeah. I have a big mouth, too.
Okay. Have a good
Bob.
weekend, Elizabeth.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Dear. I hope Jay's not listening. He won't be able to do his show tonight. Hey, Jay, do we have you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Whoa, he sounds...
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, I woke up about an hour ago. I was listening to you at 3 o'clock. And trouble is, you know, I go to sleep at about noon these days. I'm slowing down to such an extent that I don't get to bed at noon, but then I listen to you. So from 3 till 6, when I officially get up these days, I'm half asleep, but I'm half listening to you. So that's a tribute to you.
You know,
I get 3 hours of sleep. I'm like Curtis. Curtis doesn't need any sleep.
Isn't he amazing?
Yeah, he's an incredible guy. Well, we have such a... what do you mean? Not just Curtis is amazing. The entire staff is composed of extraordinary individuals.
That's true. That's true. No, you're right.
I know. And you know, some of the callers, too, are lovely. For example, that lovely lady Elizabeth who called you a few moments ago. I'd love to have a private meeting with her. Such a nice woman. What a nice lady. Kind of a combination of Margaret Hamilton and Louise Fletcher. Mixed with Ilsa Koch.
Well, of Buchenwald. You know what, of Buchenwald.
Yeah, I feel that Elizabeth's true motives were more akin to Ilsa Koch's. She criticized me for certain things, but I think she had other unstated ideals.
Now, I'm going to tell you something you're not going to believe.
Yeah.
But I have to tell it to you anyway. It's happened. Without even trying, you sound like Mario Spacim Cuomo.
Well, you know, I've got that whiskey voice if I haven't been awake too much. But
yeah, without even trying. That's scary, Jay. You've become him. It's Ronald Colman in the motion picture A Double Life.
We talk about the old act. Listen, no, I've got to tell you something. I was listening to what you said. Why can't I hear your network show on time live? I want to hear it in the flesh when it's happening. I don't want to hear it a day and a half later. If the Yankees don't happen to play on Sunday,
Guess
it
what?
should be live.
Guess what, Jay? I'll be listening to you after the game. But right now, I've got to step aside.
Garbage about Bill Clinton that didn't work in the last election and isn't going to work in this one?
No, Joan, you little snake. It isn't the same old garbage. It's new stuff that's coming out. And it's too bad that, I don't know why you wanted to. I don't understand people like you. The truth is coming out. It's revealing that this man is seriously flawed, that he is a liar, that he doesn't deserve to be president, but for some strange reason, you want to continue protecting him. I don't understand that, but then again, Joan, I've never understood you anyway, and guess what? I wouldn't even try. You're a little vixen, to say the least.
Why do you argue for Lamar Alexander? He's the middle of the rotor, business as usual. He's not.
So what's wrong with the middle of the rotor, pal?
For a real man like Pat Buchanan.
Oh, cut it out, Pat Buchanan.
Your bosses by not giving money to Israel.
Hello. You know what? You're an anti-Semitic creep. I don't even know why I waste my time with you. Yeah, I have to laugh. I knew as soon as I said that I was for a particular guy that somebody would come out of the woodwork and complain about it. But that's okay. Hey, that's okay. But this guy, Tom from Bricktown, after a while I get the M.O. And there's guys like him and people like Joan. They could give telephone talk radio a bad name. You take a program such as this. Not that I'm saying this is such a high-class program, but let's face it, this is a 50,000-watt station, one of the most powerful stations in the country, has the largest talk radio audience in the country, and therefore, I guess you could say the world. And yet, look at the low-life swine, the subhuman, sick swine who belong in Creedmoor, who called 3 right in a row.
Yeah.
3 right in a row.
These are my fellow workers, though. I mean, these are the person next door to you.
I don't think these are your fellow workers.
I don't know.
Called. These are individuals who I would not like to think are in the mainstream. If they are in the mainstream, then it's even worse than I thought.
Yeah, then it's really thick out there.
Hypocritical and phony of you to any time there's any kind of scandal, sex or any other kind, you get on the candidate if it's a Democrat. You never get on if it's Republican. I hope you have on one of the 20 women or so that Bob Packwood has assaulted over the last 2 or 3 decades.
I don't consider
And I hope you have one of...
Wait a minute. Hold on a minute.
Phil Graham and his...
Okay, now, wait a minute.
Can I finish?
Oh, shut up, you jerk, you schmuck. Try to respond to this fake, phony fraud. Phil Graham, what did Phil Graham do, for heaven's sake? I'm not a Phil Graham supporter, but what did he do? What did he do? Invested $7,500 in some R-rated movie.